September 11, 2001. It goes without saying that's a day that's going to live in infamy. And I find myself thinking about that because as I take this just breathtakingly beautiful drive in the Pennsylvania countryside, not too far from the city of Pittsburgh, I'm on my way to a memorial for a flight that on September 11, 2001 went down into a field not too far up ahead. And I thought that I would give you some perspective as to how beautiful of a spot this is. And as I drive along the road here, taking me to the memorial, can't help but to think of the drive that I was taking that September 11, 2001, when I first heard wind of the tragedy unfolding. I was going to the Santa Rosa Junior Community College, and I was on my way to take an exam in one type of math course or another. And as I was driving down River Road in Sonoma County heading into Santa Rosa to go to school at about 6:30 in the morning, on the news they said, all I heard was, for the first time in history, all flights in the United States are grounded. And I didn't know quite what was happening, but it didn't take long before I got to school and word was spreading of the tragedy that was unfolding. So we are on our way to the memorial here, just out of Somerset, Pennsylvania. And I thought that I would take the opportunity, if you want to call it that, and go and see this memorial that's been built to those that lost their lives on that day. So we should be arriving there. We're within actually within 5 minutes of arriving at the memorial. So I thought that I would share this with you, because I'm sure it's not going to be that beautiful of a sight to go and see, where that plane went down, but nonetheless you can see how beautiful this area is leading up to the site. All right, the first thing that you see coming into the National Park, Flight 93 National Memorial, is what is the Tower of Voices off in the distance. And the sign, it says, the Tower of Voices is a monumental 93-foot tall musical instrument holding 40 wind chimes representing the voices of the 40 passengers and crew members on board Flight 93. It will be a landmark feature near the memorial entrance, visible from U.S. Route 30 and the Lincoln Highway. The Tower of Voices will provide a living memorial in sound, capturing their voices in the wind. The tower is unique in design. The shape and orientation of the tower is designed to optimize airflow through the tower walls to reach the interior chime chamber. The chime system is designed using music theory to produce a distinctive musical note associated with each chime. The chimes create tones that convey through harmony and discord both the serenity of the site and the tragic event on September 11, 2011. The Tower of Voices will be constructed from late 2017 to 18, with the dedication ceremony projected for September of 2018. Since its inception, the creation and construction of the Flight 93 National Memorial has been made possible through the generosity of people from across the nation and around the world. The National Parks Foundation and the Friends of Flight 93 National Memorial continue to raise funds for the completion of the Tower of Voices. All right, I don't know if we can drive up there, but we will certainly see. And the Tower of Voices is not yet finished, so we weren't able to share any more of that with you. Here we are pulling into the Memorial Plaza of the Flight 93 Memorial. Actually, quite a few people here. So we'll find a place to park and see what they have. Having found a place to park, I find myself approaching I believe they have a visitor center. They've got the visitor center and the overlook are just up this way. Here they have a display here. Gives you an idea as to the crown here.
Yeah, it was raining here all day until just about an hour or so ago. Yeah,
So
there's
the
two of
crash
them.
site.
One is here. It starts right here. It's 7/10 of a mile one way, and then the other one is the one you see there with the taller trees.
Would be right
That's
there.
Here. Goes down over the Wetlands Bridge, comes out along the Memorial Plaza, and then if you take the 7/10 coming up, you're going to have a total round of about 2.25.
Here is the visitor center, and the crash site would be just off to the right, if I was understanding that correctly. Here you see all right, so we'll continue into the visitor center. Thought I would stop and give you an idea as to the wall here. You can see the texture on the wall. A common field one day, a field of honor forever. That's the message on the glass as you look out into the field. This is the view from the flight path overlook. So you can actually walk down there. I see some folks who are actually down at the crash site. Visitor center. I found my way into the visitor center, and I'll share with you what I'm able to. Here at the very first display, it was a beautiful September morning with a blue sky. Just a normal day. Joy Knapp teacher, Shanksville Stony Creek School. Here they've got a timeline of the event starting at 7 a.m. talking about what's happening. United Airlines Flight 93 to San Francisco, California. I think it was going out of, Newark. 7:20, the flight begins, boarding at gate 17A. Flight 11 takes off from Boston, Massachusetts with 92 people aboard. There it is. Requirements record. Some of the information from the airport. You see the floor 107. Uniformed personnel. (8:16 a.m. classes begin at Shanksville Stony Creek School. 8:20 a.m. American Airlines Flight 77 leaves Washington. 8:42 Flight 93 takes off with 44 people aboard after a delay of 25 minutes due to heavy air traffic.
And the working theory here is that this is the work of terrorists. They specifically believe this is the work.
Here is another display. Second plane hit the second tower. America's under attack. White House Chief of Staff Andrew Card to President George H.W. Bush. Or George W. Bush.
The whole building has collapsed. That's the southern tower you're talking about.
Showing some different items here. U.S. Navy officer's family photograph survives the attack and assumed fire at the Pentagon. A piece of steel is part of 1.8 million tons of debris from the collapsed World Trade Center. Right there. Mangled tableware from the windows on the World restaurant is recovered in the rubble. More than 5 years after the attack, a computer disk drive is excavated from the southwest corner of the site.
737. We have a breaking news story to tell you about. Apparently, a plane has just crashed into the World Trade Center here in New York City. It happened just a few moments ago, apparently. We have very little information available at this point in time.
We were looking at obviously a very disturbing live shot there. That is the World Trade Center, and we have unconfirmed reports this morning that a plane has crashed into one of the towers.
Welcome back to Fox News. We have a very tragic alert for you right now. An incredible plane crash into the World Trade Center here at the lower tip of Manhattan.
So I didn't see what caused it or if there was an impact.
I have another one. Another plane just hit. Well, oh my God, another plane has just hit. It hit another building. Flew right into the middle of it. Explosion. My God, it's right in the middle of the building.
We just saw another one apparently go. Another plane just flew into the second tower.
segundo avión impactó las torres. Las llamas y el humo eran incontenibles.
This has to be deliberate, folks.
The city evacuating the United Nations building, the municipal building, City Hall, Gracie Mansion, which is the mayor's residence, all things that could be considered potential targets.
The city asked the Federal Aviation Administration for permission to...
Here is a representation of all the flights. All the flights that were in the air at that time.
Two airplanes that crashed into the World Trade Center in an apparent terrorist attack on the country.
In the cockpit, if we don't, we'll die. Native English-speaking male voice shouting, captured by the cockpit voice recorder at 10 a.m. Here you can listen to some phone calls. There's a photograph of the cabin of the aircraft. Here you have phone calls. Only a few of the calls placed by passengers in Crew 93 are recorded. You can listen to recorded calls made from the aircraft that day. Please be advised that these recordings include content of a sensitive nature. I'm listening to a recording of a woman calling her husband. Beware any cockpit intrusion. United Airlines dispatcher. Message sent to Flight 93 at 9:24. Here's their actual path. Flight 93 takeoff at 8:42. Turned around right about Cleveland, Ohio. We're headed for Washington.
dust.
This was probably the most significant case the FBI has ever worked, and it took us all over the world. It was a massive investigation. Section Chief Kenneth McCabe, Investigative Response Section, FBI Laboratory. Flight 93 aircraft debris right there. Partial nose number 52491 front. Fuselage pierced by metal fragments above. Piece of the tail section in the back. Remnants of a routine flight. Items used in the daily task of the flight crew are recovered at the crash site. Mangled silverware. There was an airplane that just crashed near Shanksville. Oh my, it's on fire. It's unbelievable. 911 caller, village of Lambertsville. Fragments of Flight 93. Says the violence of the 563-mile-per-hour crash reduces the 155-foot-long aircraft to unrecognizable fragments. This debris and thousands of other pieces of wire, metal, and insulation scattered across acres of field and woodland. Other artifacts. Todd Beamer is traveling on business for the Oracle Corporation. Crashes his employee identification badge with him on the plane. A common field one day, a field of honor forever.
Choices make a difference. That love and sacrifice can triumph over evil and hate. And that what happened above this Pennsylvania field ranks among the most courageous acts in American history.
As each day and year passes, as we have come to better understand 9/11 as a new time in American security and a new chapter in American history, we now know as a country that moments and people come through our lives to remind us to cherish what we have and to do all we can to protect it. They remind us to be our best selves, to take care of one another, to honor and preserve the sheer will, the magnificence, and the fortitude of the American spirit.
Here are the people that lost their lives that day.
Congress and the President acted very quickly. It's just a little over a year after the crash of Flight 93 that they created this place as a national memorial. What was a former strip mine was now turned into a memorial landscape, taking what was once a very scarred landscape and turning it into a place of healing, a place where visitors can come and pay tribute to the passengers and crew of Flight 93.
So many beautiful lives lost that day.
With almost no time to decide, they gave the entire country an incalculable gift. They saved the Capitol from attack. They saved God knows how many lives. They saved the terrorists from claiming symbolic victory of smashing the center of America. And they did it as citizens. Ordinary people. Given no time at all to decide.
Could have been any one of you or me on that plane.
For as long as this memorial stands, we will remember what the men and women did.
Must be the names of all the people we lost on that day. All right, let's see if I can take you down to the actual crash site. Alright, I found my way down to the crash site, and here's a picture that says America attacked and a picture of the cloud of smoke coming up over a field. Local residents 1.5 miles away took this photo within minutes of the crash.
And no tree. Oh, he was probably in trouble.
We broke two pine boughs off.
We're going to do something. Aboard Flight 93, one terrorist claims to have a bomb strapped to his waist. Crew and passengers are forced to the back of the plane in order to be quiet. Using earphones from the seatbacks in the rear of the plane and cell phones, passengers and crew call their families, friends, and authorities to report the hijacking. They soon learn the shocking news that Flight 93 is part of a larger attack, including the news that a third plane, hijacked American Flight 77, crashed into the Pentagon at 9:37 a.m. This realization leads to a vote and a collective decision to fight back. Here's the crew and passengers of Flight 93 again. Have the flag flying at half-mast in perpetuity. If that's the correct word. This is the wreath laying area. Take a walk out to the edge of the crash site. It's a big open field, you can see. It's all around. All right, we'll find our way to the end. Walking along, I came across this information panel, crash site and debris field, and it says the quarter-mile walkway and sloped wall mark the edge of the 40-acre crash site and debris field. And out there, the 17-ton sandstone boulder was placed in the field to mark the approximate location of the impact. If you can see that off in the distance, that is the closest spot to the actual point of impact. And at the end of the path here you have the names of the fallen: Christine Adams, Lorraine Bay, Todd Beamer, Ellen Anthony Bevan, Mark Bingham, Deborah Frances Bodley, Sandra Wall Bradshaw, Marion R. Britton, Thomas E. Burnett Jr., William Joseph Cashman, Georgine Rose Corrigan, Patricia Cushing, Captain Jason M. Dahl, Joseph DeLuca, Patrick Joseph Driscoll, Edward Porter Felt, Jane C. Folger, Colleen Frazier, Andrew Sonny Garcia, Jeremy Logan Glick, Kristen Osterholm White Gould, Lauren Catuzzi Grancolis, and unborn child, Wanda Anita Green, Donald Freeman Green, Linda Gronlund, Richard J. Guadagno, First Officer Leroy Homer, Toshia Kuj, C.C. Ross Lyles, Hilda Marson, Waleska Martinez, Nicole Carroll Miller, Louis J. Nackey II, Donald Arthur Peterson, Gene Hoadley Peterson, Mark David Orthenberg, Christine Ann Snyder, John Tagliani, Honor Elizabeth Juanillo, Deborah Jacobs Welsh. And there it is, folks. Hope you appreciated the visit to the Flight 93 Memorial here just out of Somerset, Pennsylvania.